Hi everyone, making a review here of living in Irvine, California. If you guys haven't heard about Irvine, California, Irvine is located basically in between San Diego and LA. So they're about an hour and a half, an hour from LA, depending on traffic, right? Everybody says depending on traffic here in California, because there is a large population of people in California, especially near the coast, and the traffic is pretty crazy. So depending upon where you live, Irvine is smack dab in the middle. So a lot of folks like to live in Irvine to commute to LA or San Diego. So this video is basically going to be covering the pros and cons of living in Irvine. What do you expect when living in Irvine in terms of a job factor? And just my overall thoughts on the city. Now, if you haven't checked out my channel, I do a variety of different reviews. I've lived in a variety of different places all around the world. I don't want to say the US, but all around the world. I've lived in Japan. I've been to over almost 30 countries all around the world. In the US, I've lived in several large cities in Texas, Dallas, Austin, Florida, many cities in Florida, Atlanta, Georgia. And I've traveled throughout the country due to my position and job in the past. So I'm very familiar with the U.S. and the different cities. So this is basically coming from experience, checking out different cities, and my thoughts on Irvine, California. So let's jump right into it. If you haven't already, press the like button down below. It's going to help out the channel so I can create more content and more videos. And if you haven't already, subscribe down below right by the like button so you get notification on videos that I post in the future. So let's jump right into it now. Irvine, California, my opinion, I love this city for several different reasons, which I'll go over. I think is a very safe city. I think that's what really comes to mind first. If you speak to anybody here in Irvine, or if you look at the statistics online, Irvine has one of the lowest crime rates in the U.S. So very, very low crime rate, is a very safe city. There's folks that walk, very late at night, and, women and men. And I wouldn't advise it, of course, but, I've spoken to them, and I've kind of felt where they're coming from. You feel kind of at ease. There's not a worry that something may happen, but again, there's always something that may happen. So don't go out there and say, hey, Irvine's safe, nothing will happen to me. But it is very safe statistically, based upon the results out there online, if you'd like to check it out, and from my personal experience, and how I feel and how others feel here. The second reason is the ethnicities and culture in Irvine, California. Throughout California, you're going to get a variety of different ethnicities and whatnot. Irvine is a very large, population of Chinese, and I say Chinese specifically because Asian, that conglomerates Japanese, Vietnamese, and whatnot. And Irvine does have a conglomerate of different ethnicities, but there's a large predominant ethnicity and population of Chinese here in Irvine. And that's due to the, when speaking to several Chinese friends that I've made here, that's due to the school system. The school system here in Irvine, which is another reason why Irvine, I think, is great, is one of the top in not only California, but the nation. They've got a very, very high-ranked school system. University of California, Irvine as well is pretty high ranked in their ranking in the nation. So very strong school system. So the Chinese love that strong school system, and they come here. There's a large group and family base for them here. The second predominant ethnicity here are Persians, Iranians, which are pretty predominant in LA as well. But Irvine is a very, very large population of Iranians. And there's a lot of different Iranian supermarkets here, which if you haven't checked out, it's only Iranians that go there. Asians and Chinese, Indians, Lebanese, Americans, white. I mean, everybody goes to these grocery stores due to the reason of the prices being amazing, the quality and selection being really top notch. I have done review on my channel on two grocery stores that I've checked out. One of them is Wholesome Choice, and there's another one too that I've reviewed. Forgot the name, but if you check out my channel, I've reviewed that in thorough on what they have and the prices. I mean, it's amazing prices. It really makes Walmart or Whole Foods, I mean, especially Whole Foods, to shame on the selection of organic fruits and vegetables and whatnot they have at these stores. So, highly recommend checking them out. So yeah, like I said, the school system's pretty top notch. The ethnicities, those are the very large predominant ethnicities here in Irvine. In terms of housing, oof. What I found out, not only in Irvine, but some other areas, but there's a company called the Irvine Company, interesting enough, funny enough, that predominantly owns I want to not want to say 90%, but 80% of the apartment communities here in Irvine and outside of Irvine. Doesn't even have to be in Irvine, the city, but if you're in Irvine, the city, I think 95% of them are managed and owned by the Irvine Company. So I'll go into detail about how the city was developed, but with the prices, the word monopoly comes to mind, and a lot of the communities, especially nearby communities next to each other, the prices are basically the same, and they kind of work it together, and they work together in terms of the community. So the prices are very high in terms of living costs, in terms of apartments. You're looking as of this video, September 2021. The pandemic COVID-19 has already rose the prices of rent, but as of this video, September 2021, the prices in Irvine, if you're looking at a studio, and I'm not talking about, I mean, there's some fancy places too, but decent place, you're looking at 21 at the minimum, and that's an older community. Okay. If you're looking at somewhat the newer communities, 5 to 10-year-old communities, you're looking at about $2,400 minimum for a studio. Now, if you go to one bedroom, you're looking at about $2,700, and if you're looking at two bedrooms, you're looking above $3,000. So the prices are crazy here in terms of renting, housing prices as well, because a lot of folks from China that come in, they purchase properties at a full asking price, and it doesn't even have to be Chinese. There's people that are not Chinese and they pay full asking price because there's not much inventory that they've built out here in Irvine, and whatever inventory there's on the market, there's not much, and the prices just skyrocket. So you're looking at in the $1 million plus, in the $1 million plus range for a 3 or 4 bedroom property, home and whatnot. So the prices are pretty high. Gas prices are basically the same. You're looking at about $4.25 for unleaded gas a gallon. Insurance, car insurance, pretty low. I wouldn't say it's really low, but in terms of California rates in comparison to LA or certain areas, I mean, every area is different, so check it out. But the prices are decent. They're not low, they're not high, they're just in the middle. In terms of work, if you're coming here for work and finding a job, there are many companies here in Irvine. A lot of them are gaming companies that are located here in Irvine. You've got Taco Bell headquarters here. You've got Johnson & Johnson medical devices here. You've got a variety of different companies here, not too far from Irvine, just maybe a couple minute drive north near Tustin area. Hyundai and Kia are located there. Their headquarters for the U.S. So, and they've got a pretty large, because of those companies being Korean based, is a large Korean based population in that area. And then so that, those are some of the reasons why people come to Irvine is due to the safety, due to the school system, due to the cleanliness of Irvine. There's not much trash on the ground out there. You might see some trash here and there, but for the most part, in comparison to many other cities, I've noticed is somewhat very clean, in my opinion. In terms of hiking, they have some hiking trails, but they're not the best. The weather. Okay, let's get into this. My opinion is the weather is not bad, but when you get closer, like if you're near the UCI, University of California Irvine campus, the weather is gonna be much cooler because you're closer to the ocean. Okay, so you get that ocean breeze, you get somewhat of that ocean weather when you're closer to the ocean. But if you're near Irvine Spectrum or whatnot, in those areas, it's gonna be hotter for sure. It's gonna be hotter. I've been in Irvine during the summer. We're coming now into the fall season. Summers can get somewhat pretty hot. I don't think they're too hot. Irvine is pretty renowned for having forest fire and smog. I haven't experienced that, luckily. But a lot of residents that have lived here for many years have experienced that themselves. But yeah, if you live closer to the ocean, I think is a better weather, in my opinion. And that's, if you get closer to the ocean, you're looking at Laguna Beach, you're looking at somewhat Costa Mesa, those areas nearby the beach. And the prices are going to be, of course, higher when you're in the beachy areas. And the beach is not that far from Irvine. You're looking at about a 10-minute drive to the beach from Irvine. So 10 minutes, you go from Irvine, go straight to Laguna Beach. 10-15 minutes, you're there. So not far at all. And there's a lot of great hiking trails in that area and scenery and whatnot. Homelessness. It was already in the news in terms of homelessness and Irvine being picked up by police and dropped off in Santa Ana to kind of make it cleanliness and whatnot. It's already been, if you look it up on Google, there's articles on this already that they do that. So to each their own in terms of that opinion. Let me see what else is there. The airport is John Wayne Airport. There's a lot of flights that come in and out of the airport. It's an international airport, which is great. Very lovely in terms of that. There's public transportation here. The public transportation, in my opinion, sucks. And I'll tell you why. Because when I moved here, I didn't have a vehicle or car. Luckily, I was nearby, in a proximity location where it was nearby, grocery stores and whatnot. But if you want to take the bus, certain places, let's say, for example, trying to get from Irvine to Laguna Beach, you're going to have to go from one bus to another bus and switch. But when you're switching, you've got to wait 30, 45 minutes to wait for the other bus to take you to the beach. So like I said, 10, 15-minute drive in car would be almost an hour and a half by bus. So the bus system, in my opinion, they haven't really done a great job. And maybe it was better before the pandemic hit. I know some bus routes have been kind of taken out of routes, but of September 2021, it's still not good. They haven't brought it up to scale yet. Irvine is by the way, another thing is a very conservative city in comparison to LA, which is very liberal. LA, as of September 2021, still has a lot of mandates. I have friends that live there. The mask, man, people are wearing masks outside and inside. Is this Irvine? It's much more lenient, laid back in terms of masks. Not a lot of people wear masks. Again, to each their own. If you like that or not, but this information for you to kind of grasp and obtain. Some people like that, some people don't. It's up to you guys on which one you like. Coming from Florida, before that, New York, New Jersey, DC, during the pandemic, by the way, being there during the pandemic for several months, including Austin, Texas. Irvine kind of sits somewhat in the spectrum of, it's not like LA where it's 100%, very liberal, where Florida is very conservative all the way here. Texas being, not as conservative, still conservative right here. Irvine is kind of like right here. So it's still conservative, but conservative in terms of comparing it to the rest of California, in my opinion. And of course, LA is over here, and then New York, New Jersey, and DC is like right there with LA, on the other end of the spectrum. So, some folks like that, some folks don't like that. Again, information for you to choose. If you do like that, then it's a plus. If you don't, a minus, I guess. There are a lot of parks in Irvine too. If you like to do outdoor stuff like walking and whatnot, Irvine is an active city. I was so surprised about this, but there are some communities, neighborhoods, and they have some parks. And a friend of mine, from the area, we went there at I think 9 or 10 p.m. and we see families, we see kids walking at this time during the weekday, not even a weekend, weekday. I was just blown away and shocked of that. So in my opinion, I think that's a great thing. That kind of goes back to the same point I said earlier about the safety. Irvine being very safe. And in terms of, having fun and whatnot and spending money, the movie theaters, you're looking at the same prices throughout, I think, California, in my opinion. There's not much difference. Restaurants, depending on the restaurant you go, the prices are going to be somewhat the same, maybe $1 or $2 more. You're not looking at much of a difference. Property tax, it is going to be a little higher here in Irvine, depending on where you are. And like I said, the city is located not far away from San Diego. If you want to drive there, an hour and 20 minutes maybe, or LA maybe 45, 50 minutes without traffic or whatnot, same both ways. Or even Westminster. Westminster is a very nice area. What I got to check out is a very Vietnamese-based area. A lot of Vietnamese have businesses. I mean, it's only Vietnamese businesses. I mean, for miles you'll see that. And it was amazing having that cultural, that cultural ethnicity and background in the back of your yard. If you want some authentic Vietnamese food, you get in the car, you go to Westminster, which is about 15, 20 minutes from Irvine, and you're there. Amazing. Chinese food, you got amazing Chinese food, as of course, Taiwanese food, Indian food, not so much. You got some Indian places, but not so much Indian food here in Irvine. Persian restaurants, Iranian restaurants, of course. You've got a lot of that in Irvine, which are amazing. Highly recommend checking those out. But that's about it, guys. I hope we're going about 20 minutes here, but that is, I want to make sure to give you the thorough review of Irvine. And by the way, Irvine, if you're single, is not like a huge club scene or bar scene here. So if you're single, you're looking to mingle, I would recommend Costa Mesa. There's a lot more bars there and whatnot. Laguna Beach is kind of low-key area, so not much bars or clubs there either. So yeah, Costa Mesa, you're looking at those cities north of there and whatnot. If you're a younger single person, so Irvine is family oriented. Uh, People that have kids is amazing in terms of that. So with that said, I'm gonna wrap it up. Please press the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you thought this was helpful, and subscribe down below to check you guys out in the next video. Thanks.